Now, let's get to our discussion today as we start the show this week. Amidst the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the manufacturing sector, players there say they yet to access foreign exchange. They are struggling, let me use their words, to import raw materials for operations. Critical is the exchange rate volatility, which has impacted the cost of production in the sector. Some of the operators have continued to call on government to find an innovative solution to combat the challenges posed by FOREX volatility. The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Dignity Finance and Investment Limited, Dr. Chijoke Ikechukwu, joins me to start the week on the show. Dr. Ikechukwu, thank you so much. It's good to see you this Monday afternoon.
It's good to see you too. Thank you, Tolu.
After lifting restriction on 43 items, according to the Apex Bank, it seems that we've not gotten to the end of this. More than 1,100 Naira, at a point 1,200 Naira. That is what the exchange rate is at the moment. How would you react to this?
Yeah, I would first of all say that lifting the restriction was actually in compliance with all the trade agreements that we have signed here and there in Africa, in West Africa, as the case may be. But you see, in taking this kind of decision, we need to look at the impact it's going to have. As when we had enough supply of foreign currency or foreign exchange, it would have been easy to say we can meet the demands of the market. But this remains all the time, remains the issues of demand and supply of this foreign currency. So I know that removing of the ban has actually stifle the market again and increase demand, and again is coming at a time that is a season for Christmas, and the demand and importations that happen around this period usually humongous. So we took all those decisions at probably the wrong time, and removing restrictions on FS utilization from government, again, shouldn't have been a total thing. We should have actually taken some items that are basic or very important items from that particular list and set aside those ones that are of luxury nature and take the ones that are basic and very important, so that the demand is going to just start rising systematically. So right now, there are a whole lot of things confronting the manufacturer and an average Nigerian, because all these things are just dovetailing to an average Nigerian, you and I. So I do not know the fact that there has to be a drastic decision taken by the central bank in order to have a buffer for this. Otherwise, that particular free fall is going to continue. So there has to be a major hedge to stop this increase and for us to have a controlled price or rate increase.
A good start. But let me ask you, Dr. Ikechukwu, what about companies or manufacturing firms that have invested in building capacity of some of these products? We're talking about likes of toothpick here, even some iron rods that are being produced already in this part of the country. What happens to those kind of companies when you're not allowed the market for anybody to just bring in anything?
So that is actually where the problem is going to start from, because you see that at the time, a sector like furniture, there was a ban. And so, when that ban happened, there were many manufacturers of very good furniture in this country. And so we also know that there was this restriction in importation of rice, which actually made many rice farmers to emerge from this country. So with this kind of lifting of ban on restricted items to use FX, you see that a lot of importation is going to happen, and they are coming from a place where cost of production is very low, coming to compete with cost of production that is very high in the country. The local manufacturers may not be able to compete with this. But having said this, don't forget that there wasn't a total ban on all these items. All that happened was that these items were being imported with FX sourced from the parallel market. So I do not think it's going to affect the local manufacturers heavily because these items were still being imported before now. Just that they were not sourcing their FX from the official market. They were sourcing it from the barren market, and that's just that. And I'm sure you know, even as we were doing this, there were some kinds of using requests for those ones that are not banned and inflating it in order for you to use part of the money to import those ones that are restricted. Some of those practices were happening. So I do not think the impact is going to be so much on the local manufacturers. It's going to be there, but not so much. So what we have to do is just to see what we can do to increase supply of FX and reduce this demand. And there are so many things we need to do right now to actually increase the supply of our FX. You know, one of the things we have to do as we speak, quick wins, and in fact, probably low-hanging fruit, should just be to ensure that we increase our production capacity of our oil, crude oil. We just increase it in order for us to even meet the OPEC quota and increase our revenue base. If we do that, then we have to make sure that our refineries are working, and so that we can also start exporting a lot of byproducts that we have coming from refining crude products. A lot. We used to export a lot. Carbon black, paraffin wax, a lot of things we used to export in the past that we no longer export. So these are the things we can start doing right now once our refineries start working. So we can actually, again, look at our solid mineral sector. This is a sector that is already established. All we need to do is to put a whole lot of policy in place and regulate it better than we were regulating it before now. Because if the crude oil can be explored from various states, the solid minerals from the north can also be explored, and we start exporting them right away. And in order for us to start having quick revenue base, I have always advocated for us to start having commodity boards, marketing boards that we used to have in those days. You see, the difference between then and now is the fact that a lot of foreigners are inside our country, having our cash crops and exporting them, and those monies go to them. Now, if we establish produce boards, we're going to be off-takers to all the farmers. The country is going to be off-takers to all the farmers, and then we make sure we process and have them exported in the manner that will be acceptable to the international market. If we do that, the revenue therefrom will actually come to the coffers of government and not to the coffers of foreign people, companies that are doing this business. So if we do this, we're going to be having all these various sources of revenue coming in. Again, we need to talk about the issues of backward integration for virtually every manufacturer. We did it at a time in maybe in the 80s when every manufacturing company was given a time to start producing their raw materials in this country. There is no raw material we cannot produce. So all we need to do is, even if these things were being imported, the manufacturers outside the country will just come here and start manufacturing them so that we won't have to start demanding for FOREX all the time. We just source from them here. It will not require the increase of FOREX. This and many more that we're going to do. But of course, we also know that a lot of other things are affecting manufacturers, not just FX costs. Many other things are affecting manufacturers, which you and I know and Nigerians know.
Now, improving exports is very important and adding value. That is what everyone is talking about. How much are we adding value to our product so that it can really get to where we want it to get to?
Yes, that is we have to do that because we're talking about things that can actually remedy our situation right now. Adding value addition to all our raw materials and all our agricultural produce is just what we have always preached and we have always said. We don't just continue to export just the way we have them. Add value to them so that the value of what we're exporting can actually double, many times can double. Instead of just exporting cocoa, for example, we have always said we can actually turn this thing into chocolates and many other chocolate drinks and all that, so that we start exporting the value the value given to this particular product. You know, we can do a whole lot of things by improving the quality of what we export. Add value, bring machines that can add values to these products that were hitherto exported without any processing. So we have to start processing our products and add value. That way, again, we will have all our products produced there, and then we'll start exporting to countries of the world. So that is a major thing, but it is not that which is going to correct the situation right now. We need to, that is that which we'll have to put on the table for improvement in the near future. So, but in the very shortest period, we need to do those ones that can give us revenue in order for us to solve the issues, this free fall that is happening to our currency.
The coordinating minister of the economy was quoted to have said that there are plans to automate international exchange transactions to check the excesses. I don't know if you think that is the way to go.
It may come in as a solution, a long run solution, but in the short run, that is not going to be the solution we have. Right now, we need to look at those things that will increase our revenue base. We need to do those things that will reduce our demand for foreign currency. Those are the two things we must attack. We need to streamline them one after the other and start solving them frontally. You know, so yes, it is good to do that, but that is going to be a long run solution. It's not going to solve our problem right now.
Let's now look at the outlook now for manufacturers, because they are crying so hard, talking about the impact of this, bringing in inputs and materials. Sometimes I begin to look at the issue of backward integration. How easy is that for our manufacturers? I don't think it's really so easy.
Yeah, it is not easy because it's not a short-term thing. It's also that which will happen. For example, in the 80s, all tire manufacturing companies were asked to own their own rubber plantations. So what they did was just to go to a place some places in Bende State at that time, which is Edo today. They acquired all those Otabono rubber plantation, different rubber plantations. They acquired them. So it requires a lot of it. Is capital intensive, but it is very possible. I don't see any reason why a soft drink making company or fruit juice making company should import concentrates, fruit concentrates, mango concentrates, orange concentrates, when we have excess of our oranges and mangoes in this country. You know, so backward integration requires that they have to go extra mile, and probably with good funding, we can achieve this. But I say that is that which can be achieved within 1 year, but not in the next 2 months or 3 months, because it is capital intensive.
Indeed. And I'm looking at how this will affect the outlook.
Well, obviously, you know how the outlook is looking. It's not looking good. Even the government players have told us it's not looking good. You and I feel the heat of how bad the situation is. You know, so we expect that all the indicators, the inflation rate will continue to rise, the cost of living is going to continue to rise, quality and standard of living will continue to come down. And so we expect that all these things are going to continue until a time when some reprieve will be received. But I can tell you that reprieve is not going to come from the palliatives that have been put now. What we need is some kind of injection of monies to stimulate every sector. Pay contractors. There are many contractors that are being owed today by government, both state governments and federal government. When you pay those guys, they are going to have a lot of their monies come into the system again. And of course, you know that interest rate is very high right now. So manufacturers are also borrowing at a very high rate just because of what MPR is providing to them, just because of what inflation rate is also providing. So interest rate is high. So interest rate needs to come down for people to have access to funds, in order for them to be able to fund major sides of the economy, and in order for the economy to be stimulated. But if the issues of palliative, I have hardly seen where palliative solve economic issues and economic problems.
I must thank you so much, Dr. Chijoke Ikechukwu, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Dignity Finance and Investment Limited. Thank you for starting the week with us on Business Nigeria. We appreciate this.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Thanks.